This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Minute, so it's kicking. There we are.
Okay.
So
Great.
let me mention that it's 6:07 p.m. I like to know that.
Okay. Thank you, Rebecca. So welcome to the March 23rd, 2022 meeting of the Community Relations Committee. We'd like to thank Easthampton Media for posting our recordings on YouTube. All past meetings of the CRC can be found on Easthampton Media's YouTube account for viewing at any time. All committee members and participants in this meeting are gathered remotely during the pandemic as permitted by Chapter 20 of the Massachusetts Acts of 2021, entitled An Act of Extending Certain COVID-19 Measures adopted during the state of emergency and signed into law on June 16th, 2021 by Governor Baker. For the benefit of those of you who are joining us from the community, no one yet, I'd like to start this meeting by sharing our committee's mission statement. Our mission is to promote positive relations throughout Easthampton's diverse population. We will work to build a sense of inclusion, community, and pride, where community members feel welcome, accepted, and valued. Okay, so roll call. We'll start. Rebecca Pasa.
Here.
Great. Ebenezer Afarakuma.
Yep.
Margaret Kirstein.
Here.
Emily Britton here. Jan Norman. Myra Oyedemi. And our newest member, Marla Solomon.
Here.
Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Happy to be here.
Great. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Yes, very nice to see you. Yeah.
I feel like a baby or something, like we have a new sibling and we didn't really know what it meant. You know?
Goodness. Okay, so our agenda, actually need to open up our agenda. What's first, Rebecca?
So agenda item number 3. So one was starting to roll call. Agenda item 3 is the approval of minutes.
Oh,
Now,
great.
as you all might have seen, I have sent out 3 sets of minutes. I'm not going to assume that everybody has had a chance to look at them. But if you do feel ready to vote on their approval or discuss, then that would be fine.
Okay.
So item A would be the regular meeting that we had on February 23rd, 2022. And I might mention, as I mentioned in the past when Dr. Eben was new with us, if you weren't at a meeting or you feel that you can't vote, one can always abstain. But I leave it to each of you to make that kind of a decision. But so February 23rd, 2022.
I'd like to make a motion to approve them. I approve them.
Thank you. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to take Margaret, even though I saw 2 hands at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. And then having a motion on the floor, is there any discussion of the motion?
What is the motion?
The motion is to approve the minutes of our regular committee meeting of February 23rd, 2022.
I'm sorry. I thought there was some separate motion. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I was just looking down at the work session. Anyway, I was just curious. I was just looking down at the emails you've sent.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do the next one next.
Okay.
Yeah. So are we approving the February 23rd ones?
Yes, approve.
Yeah, so we have to do a roll call vote.
Okay. Roll call. Rebecca Palsa.
I approve.
Margaret Kirstein.
I approve.
Dr. Eben Afarakuma.
I approve.
Great. And me, Emily Britton, I approve. Yes.
And we do have a member, Marla. She can vote.
Yeah, I mean, I attended the the open meeting law training, and it said even if you were absent, you could vote. And I'm not unsure on what basis I would do that, although I have reviewed the minutes. So
Okay.
I'll just abstain.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Marla. Yeah.
Okay, so that's item A. So the item B is the work session that we had on February 25th, 2022. Some of our chairs take a motion first and then discuss. I'm not really stuck on either way. I know that there's at least one question. So I don't, I'm not sure that it matters which order we do it in, but it might be that if there's a change needed or anything, we'd like to discuss that and then have a motion.
Right.
So let's see. So the question I'm aware of is work session item 3. Jan made a motion and agreed to a revised motion. So first of all, what I remember is Jan made a motion. We had some more discussion. And I know I, for one, wanted to make sure he was adopting it into his motion. And we were talking particularly about undoing racism and proposed dates. I mean, somehow some of the language of the motion was to secure a vendor, but still, I mean, we know who the vendor is. So
Right.
I don't know if you find that acceptable or if you'd like to change the language.
Yeah, it was confusing to me. So I would propose that it simply say, agree to a revised motion to seek proposed dates for the Undoing Racism workshop to take place sometime between May 16th and June 30th. So you could add to take place sometime between May 16th.
Okay.
And to empower the forum subcommittee to confirm the date. That's what I would recommend.
So maybe I'd offer a motion for the floor, which we could still discuss. So my motion would be to approve the minutes as revised, so that line says that Jan made a motion and agreed to revise motion to seek proposed dates for the workshop to take place, etc. The rest of the sentence. And because I wouldn't want that to be, I understand we already knew who the vendor was, so.
Right.
Are we talking about the People's Institute? Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll have to get, Marla, we're talking about the Undoing Racism workshops. Have you heard about them that have been done twice?
Yeah, I'm actually familiar with it. I participated in a few myself, and have some experience with local people who've done it.
Oh, very good. That's nice.
Okay, we'd like to hear about that sometime. But anyway, that's what we're talking about. That we decided that wasn't something we were going to do. Well, I don't think it says that in the minutes, but
no, this was at this time we wanted to check on. I remember that we wanted to check on possible dates.
Right.
So the motion would be to approve the minutes revised overall, to leave out the secure a vendor language and just say that Jan made a motion and agreed to a revised motion to seek proposed dates and include the rest of the language.
Yeah.
So my question would be is whether we have a second.
I'll second it.
Oh, okay.
I'll take Margaret's.
Just poke me. Just say, Margaret, raise your hand. I would have done it 5 minutes ago.
Oh, this is all voluntary. And then, is there any further discussion before the vote?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll take a vote to approve the minutes with the revision.
Yes, thank you.
Rebecca Passa,
I approve.
Margaret Kirstein,
Approve.
Dr. Evan Afarakuma,
I approve.
Emily Britton, I approve, and Marla Solomon.
Abstain.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, and then there is one further set of minutes, which is for the meeting of March 9th, 2022.
So I read them. They looked great. I really didn't see any changes. So I would like to motion to approve them.
Anybody second?
I second it.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll take a vote on that. Roll call. Rebecca Pasa,
Approve.
Margaret Kirstein,
I approve.
Dr. Eben Afarakuma,
I approve.
yes, Marla Solomon,
Abstain.
and Emily Britton, I approve. Okay. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Rebecca, for all that work.
Sure.
Oh my goodness, lots of work.
It's nice to catch it up. Thank you for your approval.
Oh,
Because, when we have a lot of meetings, that's a lot of minutes.
I know, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
the next item, do you have that agenda in front of you now?
Yes, now I do. Next is announcements.
Yes. So I thought maybe starting with announcements, I would go through some recent communications, and actually one of them, March 14th, from Lindsay Mailer, was a notice about remote meetings and upcoming options. I think among our discussions, we really didn't have a chance to address whether we wanted a hybrid meeting or not. So as we know, or just before this meeting, I had sent out a further email from Lindsay that is saying that all Easthampton multi-member bodies, boards, and committees will return to in-person meetings as of April 1st, 2022. There are a couple of attachments, and one of the attachments indicates that I assume that some boards had replied and wanted hybrid meetings. So the list of committees with the hybrid meetings are the City Council, School Committee, Planning Board, Conservation Commission, Zoning Board of Appeals, School Building Committees. The others they put in a list of in-person only. We didn't respond, so if we had wanted hybrids, they don't know that yet.
Well, I think
But
we didn't have the time to respond. That was only a week ago that she asked the question. I mean, maybe we could have jumped on it, but I know that one member did request that it be hybrid. So do you think it's too late for us to ask that we be hybrid as well?
Well, also hybrid goes both ways. It's also for participants, to be able to be on Zoom versus come in the meeting. So it goes both. I say that we want hybrid meetings so that we can have as many participants as possible.
Right. We actually did discuss that in the past. We definitely did discuss that. Right.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
And so I think that, giving us a few weeks, and also then, Rebecca, you also said that you think the governor has extended it to July. So who knows which one it's going to be. That doesn't seem clear to me at the moment.
So I'd like to mention two things. One thing is with announcements, and it's a little tricky because things that come up in announcements and public speak isn't really properly noticed on the agenda for discussion. But I would like to volunteer on my own to reach out to Lindsay, to reach out to the city and ask some questions.
Okay.
Indicate an interest in hybrid meetings, even ask about the deadlines, because I know some people have indicated being challenged by having to come to the city office. So I'd like to volunteer just on my own to reach out.
Okay.
So even though it's not on the agenda, but it just come up and we have to respond because April 1st is fairly soon. And our next meeting, will be after then.
Right.
I think just through urgency, we need to discuss it. I mean, does it make sense that we have hybrid meetings so that both we and or anybody else can be on Zoom?
Well, there are some things we can discuss outside that are allowed under open meeting law. We can discuss agendas in meetings.
Okay.
So I think that based on, if I reach out, people don't mind, and I'm not asking for an agreement because it's not even noticed, but I'm going to take it on myself to ask questions. But this can inform discussions about agendas and meetings, which we can discuss because after all, we need to be able to call meetings. Right.
Right.
So we can at least discuss meetings under the open meeting law.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
So I feel like that's
So
going to be.
how do the rest of you feel about having a hybrid? Dr. Eben and Emily and Marla and Rebecca?
Oh, yeah. I think the hybrid will be the best for now, since it
Mhm.
gives each folks opportunity to either, if they cannot be present with us, they can quickly join us wherever they are and we'll have a successful meeting. So I go for the hybrid. However, I saw that the list we have been placed in the in-person. We have been categorized as in-person. So maybe we need to also quickly draw their attention so that we can be, featured in the hybrid. Thank you.
Mhm, mhm.
Right. So I'm volunteering to reach out right away
Okay. Thank you.
and see what I can discover and see what maybe I can do about it.
Okay.
So,
Myra,
okay. So that's one piece of correspondence. Let's see.
Can I just,
I
I'm sorry, may I
want to hear
just
from
interrupt for
Emily
a
and
second?
Marla.
Can I just interrupt for a minute? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to leave the meeting, and I just wanted to make one request, and I don't know how you do this for when you bring new people on, but when at the next meeting, would it be possible for me to like hear who everybody is, and then, I could tell who I am at that point. I know, tonight was short and I wasn't even on the agenda, so I just showed up, but.
And you know what? We're missing two people too.
Yeah.
So I think in terms of introductions, that's wonderful for a next meeting. That's my opinion.
Okay. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry I have to jump off. It's great to see you all. And I
Nice
look
to
forward
meet
to getting to know you more.
Yeah. Great.
Thank you for making the effort to come. Appreciate that.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Marla.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Yes, so we already did announce her, I think, as a new member, but if we didn't, we can do it now that Marla Solomon is a new member. So, but we'll include that on the next.
I hope I announced it when I did the initial roll call, I think, but sounded like,
That she was our new member.
Yeah, and I think I'd like, Myra has already reached out to do some onboarding with her, so we can let her know that we've had, some get to know you sessions outside of this public meeting forum so that people can share more. Yeah, with more time. Okay, so I agree with Evan and Margaret that hybrid meetings should continue for now, in part to get more access for the public, presuming we might have. I know that next month we were going to have some members from another Easthampton group, and I'm sure it would be easier for them to come on virtually rather than in person. So, I think we should try to keep it hybrid or even keep it online for a little while.
Yes,
Right.
that would be my first choice, is to have it be in this format for a month. I don't know, weeks, not forever, 2 months at most. I mean,
Right.
see, I think we're just going to get more information about the virus. That's all.
Right. Exactly. I know we can't deny what we hear from doctors. So, yep. Yep.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. So I will reach out right away.
Great. Thank you, Rebecca.
So next, in terms of correspondence, I had mentioned in one of our past meetings, among ideas that we've had, like book readings and film showings, I reached out and asked the powers that be who created the film that's called "I'm Not Racist, Am I?"
Right.
That's a film that follows a number of teenagers in the same school. They had a project, and I saw the film, and found it interesting. So I have a reply. So I have information about it. So perhaps I'd just read this to you. I haven't forwarded it, but I could. So it sounds like the name of the organization that probably created this and oversees it is Point Made Learning. Lenny Walker replied to me from there, saying we are currently screening the film both virtually and in person. As an aside, I would mention that I saw it virtually. A virtually facilitated screening of the film is $5,000. Including the director of the film to lead the post-screening discussion is an additional charge of $2,000. There is no charge for any of our other facilitators. An in-person facilitated screening of the film starts at $7,500 and incurs an additional fee for the director or producer of the film at $3,500. We also have other facilitators that can do it for $2,000. If in person, we can talk about a day rate for multiple events if you're interested. We also have an option where you can screen the film yourself after being trained by us. This U-Lead option ranges from $2,500 to $5,000, depending on the number of trainees, and gives you the ability to screen this film yourself multiple times. You can then license the film from us in the future for a small fee only when using the same trained facilitators. Let me know if you would like to talk about the options. So again, this is an announcement. I'm not really looking for discussion now. It could go in the future if we would like it on an agenda. This was the group in Sudbury that's called Sudbury like Racial Social Justice. I forgot their exact name. So they did a screening, and actually what this was is they made it available, and I as an attendee could pick when I saw the film, as I recall. Then they had a gathering where those creators of the film were in attendance, and there was a discussion, and they asked, about certain points in the film and how, people's reactions to this. What character did you most identify with? Things like that. So I have that experience. I know that Sudbury included a few groups, including the library sponsoring it. So I feel like there probably wasn't one group paying for it all by itself, that there was, there's some foundation that's in Sudbury too. So I just wanted to announce that I received that email. And so this is just a resource that exists that I appreciated. So I had wanted to share that with you.
Okay.
Okay. There is further, let's see, there's further.
Wait, hold on a second, Rebecca. I just wanted to say that I think I'd like to recommend that be discussed by the forum subcommittee amongst, with the other opportunities. I think that's the best forum for it to be discussed within.
You're right. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, well, and it might be that leads to at least another kind of announcement we had discussed, that I would reach out to the mayor with a question about open meeting law that I had. Now, as I remember, I think, Margaret, you might have since attended a training yourself.
I did. I attended it yesterday.
I think that's wonderful. So I did reach out to the mayor, who suggested that I contact the Attorney General's office directly, which I did. And then I received a response, which I do believe I sent out to all of you. And overall, it's saying, my sense from it is that if we create a subcommittee to advise us, that subcommittee is subject to the open meeting law, which would mean they have to meet online and take minutes. So, I wasn't that thrilled about that, but I could.
So subcommittees have to meet online and be recorded. Yes?
Yeah.
And take minutes.
Right. So
Mhm.
basically they are saying basically the open meeting law defines public body, and they go through the definitions, and it includes subcommittees. And then we have said that a public body forms a subcommittee when the body formally authorizes multiple members of the public body to perform a task or prepare a recommendation to the public body. In other words, if we create a subcommittee to do a task or advise us, that's also a public body. Then they said, because I wanted to know what are the leeway there? If a single member undertakes a task, I just volunteered to undertake a task.
Mhm.
And I feel that that's something we can do. If a single member undertakes a task or multiple members volunteer on their own to do something without action by the public body, no subcommittee is created. So there's the exception.
Mhm.
What we call a subcommittee doesn't matter. We could call it a working group, task force, subcommittee. What matters is how we do it. So my concern when I attended the training was, oh my, what's a subcommittee, and do we have to make all our subcommittees go through all this and get online and notice their meetings, right? Provide notice, get on Zoom or
That's
on
not
Google
going to
Meet.
happen. That's not going to happen.
That would be difficult.
Yeah.
But I felt the need to look into it because I don't want to be violating public meeting law. So we were saying, so this sounded the previous idea, like the film, it would be great for a forum subcommittee, but does that forum subcommittee then need to notice its meeting and meet online?
Okay. See, I didn't walk. I mean, you're the lawyer in this group, so I'm not arguing with you, Rebecca. That's not
Sure.
what I mean to do at all.
That's
But
fine.
what I walked away from that open meeting law with was that, for example, that we can't really have a subcommittee that has 4 people on it. The most we can have so that we don't have a quorum is 3 people on any subcommittee. And whether it gets discussed or emails get sent or whatever about things that from the subcommittee, it cannot go even sequentially to 4 people. So, for example, Emily, you were in on some other forum thing and you kind of saw it, and I don't know if you saw it as a potential member of the forum subcommittee or as a, co-chair or what, but theoretically you should not have responded because there were 4 of us then. I didn't get that every subcommittee has to have a public meeting. Is this what you checked with the AG's office, and this is what they actually said that we have to do? Rebecca?
Well, I can my email, well, I can make sure that my email is part of what I forwarded to everybody. I could forward again to make sure that you have it so that you can see just what I asked. I mean, so let me at least say the way I read this, because the statute actually says, when the statute's talking about open meeting law, it's basically saying here who is subject to open meeting law. Like public committees are subject to open meeting law, and they're including in the definition subcommittees being subject to open meeting law. So you see, I take that as meaning they have to do what we have to do, which is to notice the meeting and record the meeting and take minutes. Right? So I wanted to know, so my question is focused on what committee members can do that doesn't rise to the level of being a subcommittee that is then subject to open meeting law.
Okay, so we can do things individually. I heard you say that. What about if it's 3 people? So if it's more than 1, we have to notice it and record it and etc. You already got the answer, or you just posed the question?
I got this. I could read let me tell you, I got this answer and I could read the entire answer. And certainly if there's further questions, in fact, part of this email says, please let us know if you have any further questions.
Yeah, so I think I would recommend writing back and say, we just really want to confirm this.
Well, I really want, but I want to see, I don't think, did you send this already? I don't have it. I can't seem to find it if I have it.
Well, let me make sure, because I believe that I forwarded this to everybody, but let me just do it again. And since it's kind of in front of me right now, so let me just even do it right now. And I'm just going to write on it, I am forwarding this, or the below FY. So this includes my question and their answer, and I do not mind volunteering again to write them and be more specific, because it sounds like it would make you feel better or be clearer. And I specifically ask, does our subcommittee then, like if we create the forum subcommittee, does it need to notice its meeting, meet in public?
And it's not a quorum. It's not a quorum.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I did was to go and look at one of their legal opinions, right? So there was a committee in some other Massachusetts town, and there was a group of 3 people, which was less than a quorum, who deliberated on a question by emailing each other. So it was held in that case that the subcommittee, because it was advising the committee, was subject to public meeting law, and that with 3 of them on the subcommittee, then 2 were a quorum of that committee, and that deliberating by email violated the law.
Okay.
So that's something I've looked at, but I can, in order to be as clear as possible.
Become a nonprofit.
I know.
I know, this is crazy.
I know.
This is like, how can you make people not want to do work?
I know.
mean, really.
I know.
Well, some people complain about big government. I mean, it might be part of our work to try to, in a way, as a community relations committee, we'd probably like to think about systems and, not to avoid having systemic racism, to avoid systemic problems. And it might be that all of these requirements are a little bit are overkill, you know what I mean? But let me ask that question more clearly. I think what I would like to do to make all of you, at least our minds at rest, is to maybe get specific and say, in particular, we had wanted to have a forum subcommittee. And does that mean, and that subcommittee would be made up of less than a quorum of the major committee, the principal committee. Does that mean that they have to notice their meetings? And, does it mean they have to do A, B, C, D, E, and F?
I did read this. I just got your email and I haven't read your original letter, but I did read the response and I certainly understand what you're saying, Rebecca.
Yeah, this is not, I attended
damn them.
I attended this training and then I was regretting it because I'm thinking, this isn't what I want to know. What, I need to know the truth, whatever I do, but I'm thinking, I don't want to know this. Because, right. And then I know nothing. I see nothing.
I don't want to know anything.
So anyway, so this is sort of part of an announcement, but let me volunteer on my own to ask a more particular question, so that
But you did. You said, can these few members, fewer than a quorum, meet together without public notice to compile a list and divide up the work? You did a very, I think you already asked the question and they gave you an answer that we don't like.
Well, right. They definitely gave me an answer I didn't like. I don't mind. Listen, I am I'm happy to have any of your questions, Margaret, by the way. So that's fine. And I do not mind asking them the same question in a different way. I'm good to do.
I mean, it's kind of like, you know, yeah, well, maybe we can go to the town's attorney. I don't know. I mean, it just.
Yeah, I don't want to belabor this because we have so much more to talk about.
Yeah, you're right. Let's move on. Thank you.
This is more like announcements, and maybe I'll rely on like the chair people of the committee to tell me if they think I should ask more questions, which I don't mind doing.
Right. So,
okay.
Can I just clarify? So the second to last sentence is the one that's particularly confusing to me in their response.
Okay.
And it's the part like if it was created by a public body. So a working group or task force or other a multi-member group will still be subject to the open meeting law if it was created by a public body to perform a task. So if it was created by a public body, that's what I find confusing.
We are a public body and we are creating a subcommittee.
Yeah.
We are us, you know.
It said if it was created to perform a task.
Well,
I don't know.
This is the way I'm thinking of it. And then I would definitely like to move on. But the way I'm thinking of it is we would love to have a forum subcommittee and we would like to task the subcommittee to look into forum options or presentation education options and then report back. So I feel like
we have to do it individually, each one of us, and not talk to each other in between. Seriously. And then talk at the meeting about what we found out.
Yeah, or multiple people volunteer separately to do something without telling the public body, right? Because it kind of said, well, if multiple members, you know, kind of on their own do something, it's like what? Anyway, I don't mind asking more questions. Now, other email. So let's see. There are some emails from the mayor. So the mayor wrote back. Okay, so there was a communication prepared by Myra and Margaret, and I signed off on it. She said the two dates. There's a couple messages, so this is only step one. Thank you for the update. The mayor says the 2 dates for the People's Institute have an available conflict with many community-based events. I asked Lomax for more dates, thinking September after the long weekend may be better. Debriefings for city employees will begin soon. Non-employees are welcome to these sessions. As the debriefs follow the People's Institute, PISAB, I forgot, People's Institute of, I don't remember it.
Beyond and beyond.
Yes. Oh, and beyond. Yeah. I could see a survey before the debrief, she says, could cloud thoughts. Lomax or I thought the debriefs would gather feedback for all involved. Does the Institute, and she's including Lomax on this question, by the way, does the Institute have any templates for surveys and would their common versity options work for the community work? And then
so wait. So the mayor's saying that if we created a survey, it would cloud people's debriefing in September.
She's kind of saying that there's more. So there's an email from 2 hours ago today. So I just wanted you to know about the first one. But Dr. Campbell also wrote and talked about a workshop broken out over several months. This, I think, I didn't see this coming to us, but the mayor included us in her response. She says, thank you, Dr. Campbell, for your reply here and the conversation earlier today. Thank you to the CRC's ongoing thought, work, and the March 17th update email. The city will be hosting 2-hour debriefs for past participants in person with Dr. Campbell. Alumni will have 3 choices to attend a debrief or can attend all 3 from 6 o'clock to 7:45 p.m. on Monday, April 25th, Tuesday, April 26th, and Wednesday, April 27th. Next fall, the city will sponsor a full 3-day in-person Undoing Racism workshop with pre-scheduled debriefs. The workshop will include breakfast, lunch, and snacks for all attendees from local restaurants. Depending on the dates, the city hopes to provide some childcare options based on need. With gratitude, Mayor LaChapelle. So now that reply includes emails underneath it, including what I read. So what I'm going to do is forward this to all the committee members. My purpose here is to let you know this was received. And I'm going to forward that. And let me just make sure that there's no other. I think I'm good with, this is all under announcements. So I think I'm good with announcements from me. So let me turn it over to the chair. Are there any other?
So, okay, I see what he's saying. So debriefs April 25th, 26th, 27th. Now, interestingly, what that does, which I'm not sure what I think about that. I'm a little on the disappointed side, I think, that we were going to do our survey to get some data, and they're going to get some data, but how is that going to get turned into data that we can see?
Um,
Do you know what I'm saying? It's nice that Dr. Campbell's going to get that data, but that's not the CRC.
Well, can we just ask him to share it with us?
Well, I can ask the mayor to say, we can tell the mayor that we want the debriefing data, anonymously. We don't want to know, we want it anonymously, but we want the data, not asking. We want the data.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's that's my take on it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at this, which I'm about to send, she mentions, I thought the debriefs would gather feedback for all involved, but nothing really says who would know it, right? Whether they could share that with us.
Yeah. I mean, you and I, Rebecca, would be part of the debrief data, but whatever. I just, this is not that it's a duplication, but it and is the debrief voluntary? That's another question I have about this too.
I would think it's got to be.
Why taking the training wasn't? It was for me and Rebecca, but it wasn't for some employees. It was they had to take this training.
I have a question. So based on what I've been harping on about people, at least one person can volunteer to do something. Would you be willing, Margaret, to follow up by asking questions?
Okay. So I would respond to the mayor's. You're going to send me the mayor's email of today, yes?
I just forwarded that, so hopefully you're receiving that.
Great.
I got it. So yeah, one question I would pose, Rebecca, Margaret, is, are we able to ask a few survey questions of the debriefing attendees? And if not, can we confirm an answer from Dr. Campbell as to whether he would share collected data with the CRC?
Okay, so do you have questions? I mean, are you thinking of questions that you want us to ask?
I could think of some for sure.
I mean, again,
yeah,
I'm not sure what questions he's going to ask, so I don't know that we have additional questions. That's all. I mean, I'm asking you. You're suggesting I write this. What's it about? I don't know what it's about.
Oh, well, my questions would be, like, if I were on the subcommittee for the forum, I would want to know, I mean, like, I'm used to Likert scales, right? You are probably like, on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how much did you learn from this workshop? And then do you recommend that all members of Easthampton attend this workshop, or do you recommend that certain groups of people be invited to attend this workshop, or scale of 1 to 10, like how much?
I mean,
that sort of thing.
Lomax Campbell went through I mean, he spoke fast, but and I didn't get it all down, but he went through some of the categories of that debriefing, but we could ask for more clarity about the questions that are part of the debriefing. Okay.
I mean, and another one is like, did you feel empowered and able to become or be an active anti-racist as a result of this training? Something like that.
Okay, well, I think before, I think coming up with questions is a good thing for us to do, but I also think we need to find out what the questions that are a standard for this debriefing are before, I have a feeling that I don't want to invent the wheel if the questions that already exist are well formulated and get to the points that we're interested in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we heard different thoughts about the workshop. So I would have liked to have gathered more data,
Yeah, right. I know, but I think that what can I say? I feel like we got smushed in the crossfire. That's what I think. I think the CRC got tapped out of the way. They decided to all of a sudden get the debriefings all scheduled, which is good. But basically, I was, sad Myra wasn't here because I was going to say, Myra, we need to really come up with a questionnaire, which I think would have been fairly short to come up with. But we need to do that and blah, 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 and have it just, get it out by the end of April is what I was going to talk about. And, so now it's like, well, we're still relying on Dr. Campbell. Dr. Campbell somehow figures in a little too prominently.
Yeah. I mean, we can be optimistic. Also, we can say that you and Myra will have a lot of time all of a sudden in the next few weeks and be able to write the questionnaire really quickly, and the mayor will let Dr. Campbell know that the CRC wants to collect this data, and she really.
Okay, but we don't have that. I'm not on their schedule either. You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for Myra's availability in the next week.
No. But I'm being optimistic. Like.
But I'm not. Yeah. Okay. I'll come up with something to ask.
Yeah. No. I know. It is a crunch.
So this email says that the debriefs, I'd say through the People's Institute at PSAB. She says, as the debriefs follow the PSAB curriculum. Okay, this is the first part of her sentence where she thinks our survey could cloud thoughts. So is there a way, I think that you've been asking
what that curriculum is. Okay.
Right. I think you've been asking this, what are their questions? What is their curriculum? Because as you're saying, I think you said this, because some of our questions may be included in what their curriculum is.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'll just start exploring this with the mayor.
That would be fabulous. Thank you.
Happily.
Thank you, Margaret.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So next thing, like I don't have any announcements other than that I hope to have the Easthampton Healthy Youth Coalition folks come to the April 27th meeting. I don't have that confirmed yet, but that's my hope. And that
Very nice.
yeah, and that the Easthampton Film Festival is taking place at the end of May. And, yeah, I know that immigration and war is some of the subjects in some of the films. I can't tell you off the top of my head what all the subjects are. So
Okay.
we have no member. Next on the agenda is public speak. There don't appear to be any members of the public so we won't have public speak, I guess.
Right.
The next agenda item is discussion regarding the proposal through the Department of Justice Community Relations Service of a plan of action, which is what Derek Dean wrote with us in collaboration with us over several meetings, and a possible vote to approve it. And I guess I just feel like I prefer to only have the vote when we have a full roll call here.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what the vote is for.
Yeah, this is the strategic plan that Derek Dean wrote.
Yeah.
We decided last month that it might make sense to at least confirm that we agree on those strategies for our next year.
There is a document, and maybe the question is whether everybody's remembering it. So I agree with the idea of voting on it with a quorum, and it may be that I should forward the draft that Derek Dean came up with. So he emailed us with a draft plan of action, and it kind of reviewed what we did, and it ends up at the end kind of with the points that we were voting on with him. And what he said is that if we would sign off on it, it would be great. If we didn't, that would be okay too. But I think we never really decided yes or no, do we want to sign off on it or not?
Also, can we, when we have discussion and then vote, if there's a couple of modifications, can we also modify it and then sign off on it?
I'm sure, because let me say too, when he provided it initially, and I looked at our dates of the training dates, I had some changes. He changed them. I'm sure he is open to changes. So why don't I send it again to everybody? And so look for it. And then if there's suggestions back to Derek Dean, I feel that he's very open to that. So I feel that that answer is yes. Perhaps I'll go ahead and send it out with some remarks saying that this was on our agenda. In order to have a more fuller quorum, we will address this again, and please look at it, because if there are questions and changes that that they can be considered.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you, Rebecca.
Oh, sure.
Great.
That'll be helpful. Yeah. Saying that we will be voting on this or sharing revisions, updates, edits at the next meeting on the 27th. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
So the next agenda item is an update on the parking lot document.
Okay.
And I know that I wanted to add something to the parking lot to make sure it's clear.
So
Yep.
I want to call this up. Did I have my Google Drive in front of me? No, why would I do that? But so I wanted to report. I didn't do it under reports, but I have this on the agenda. So I wanted to report things that I added. And then certainly we could, and this under open meeting law is an effort to be as transparent as possible. So let me see now. I'm always having to remember. I think it's this. I'm going to present a window. Yeah. Somehow, you know what? When I have tabs open, it wants me to separate them. So, and I always forget that. Okay. I believe it is this. Okay. So hopefully what you're seeing is something that says ideas/parking lot at the top.
Yes, can you blow it up at all?
I think so. Let me.
I can blow it up on my, I just
Oh,
touched my screen.
That worked. That's great.
Did that help?
Yes,
Okay.
a lot.
So we created this maybe at our last meeting, or at least one of our recent meetings, and we put items, a couple of items at the time. So I do believe that the first 5 we discussed, and I should have reminded myself which ones were on there last time, but here they are. Paper copies of our survey, meeting for coffee as a CRC members,
Right.
thinking about special days like International Women's Day. Last time Dr. Eben, I believe, was good enough to, and it might have been Myra too, but mentioning March 8th, International Women's Day. We had thought about purchasing books for group discussions, small banners. I think when we were thinking about even our cookouts, lawn sign type of things. So I definitely added film viewing. Again, this is as a parking lot, just things to consider in the future, whether it's next meeting, but to not forget. Actually, these might be 2 different things. Here's gathering of neighbors and signage. So otherwise small banners. I shared as an announcement, but kind of forgot the follow-up, that we had received an email about the Massachusetts state flag and seal. I didn't manage to get that on the agenda. I put it on the parking lot that way to try to not forget these things. Okay. And then I did report the email where the chair of the Commission on Disability talked about whether meeting chairs could meet. And I think Myra had heard from the vice chair. I think maybe they had wanted to meet us. But anyway, so I just wanted to report that I added to the parking lot in this fashion. And if you want to add some right now while we're in a public meeting, I'm happy to do that.
So I have something. I don't know if we can discuss it briefly today or what, but I spoke to the auditor in Easthampton, who we would be submitting. We'd be submitting bills to the mayor for any monies that we use in this fiscal year, but also they would go to Patel Patel, who is the auditor, and she was very helpful, and she's going to get back to me. But so that could go. I would like that on our next meeting agenda.
Wait,
I'm sorry. What's her first name?
What exactly on the agenda?
Hey, how we access money? Hatel, Hatel, and then Patel, Patel. Yes.
Okay, so
it's Hetal, actually. Hetal is her first name.
Patel. So yeah, the response, like, and teaching us how to deal with
a bunch of I mean, I can tell you what we discussed today, which was informative, but it's not on the agenda, I don't think.
Right. Okay. And then I wanted to put on the parking lot in terms of actual projects. One of them, remember, was the video project introducing committees. And Easthampton Media is very open to that. And I'd like to start working on that to make a model for the other committees, other city committees, to know what our idea was. You know, if we create the first one, then we can show it to them and they can decide whether or not they want to do it. And then the website folks can decide where they would put such videos. Like, are we going to be the only ones that have one, or maybe a bunch of committees will have one? And so it just
The talent show.
Yeah.
So if you can see my screen, you can see what I wrote, and if that's acceptable, great. If I need to change words, just let me know.
Yeah. Okay, no, you got it. That's great, Becca.
Okay.
Okay.
So any other parking lot items?
I mean, I kind of think we should talk about a date for our first neighborhood gathering and not lose the momentum from some of the work at the Winterfest. And with one of those folks that expressed interest in having a neighborhood party, we just start letting them know that we're gonna, help them out with it. And by then, or at next meeting, Margaret can tell us about the answers from the auditor, about finance, and
what I might be able to do is write that up and get it out to people so we know, but it'll not obviously not to be discussed until the next meeting.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Can you think of anything, Erin, to go in the parking
No,
lot?
I think I'm okay with it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
And those two would go on the next agenda too. Which ones are we going to put on the next agenda? I would like the auditor one, and then the date for initial neighborhood gatherings, or what schedule we're looking at for those to go on the next agenda.
Yep.
So what if I put a star? Let me say this. Ultimately, co-chairs have some prerogatives, one of which is coming up with an agenda. But let me star these two because Margaret expressed interest.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, I can propose an agenda, but I rely on the chairs to take a look.
Right. Yeah. So then I would say we really ought to discuss number 8 and 9 at the next meeting as well.
Okay. And I believe that I shared the link to this with everybody. Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to do that because I don't like to share email addresses, but you should all be able to access this. And maybe what I would say is if you can't find the link to this and you want to see it, just let me know. I'll send you a link.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to number 8. Follow up from the illegal subcommittees. No. I am pleased to announce for number A that the outreach subcommittee did not meet illegally in this time period. So we attempted to meet, but our schedules did not overlap. I thought a lot about outreach events and tasks, but I did not meet with Myra or Eben about them. So
yeah.
The next item was, I guess I'd like to jump to the forum subcommittee. We did already.
Actually, let me mention. So for Native American Heritage Month, I think the way we left it was that Myra was going to look at what was proposed, and she was going to get back to people that had worked on it, which she did. So let me just ask the committee. This is properly noticed on the agenda. I don't know if you'd want me to read what the last thing that Myra sent. But we might be ready to put this on Facebook or to consider then what, now that we have a statement, what I just, before doing anything, I just wanted to be cool.
Yeah, I mean, can we vote here to put it on Facebook with our quorum and presuming that Myra would vote yes because she wrote it?
I believe so.
Yeah, if it's ready, we can put it. We can vote.
Yeah, and it's on the agenda, so we're legally able to discuss this and vote on it. So
great.
So was this distributed, or are you going to read it to us?
Let me read it to you because then we'll be sure that I have the correct one. Now, was I smart enough to find it? One challenge I have is that there's the committee email and then there's my personal email.
Right. Right.
But let me see if I can find by searching for Myra. Let's see. Let's see. I think it was called press release draft. Okay. So Myra wrote, I have tried to mesh everyone's words together. Here's my end product. And here it is. From September 30th, 2021 to November 8th, 2021, Easthampton's Map Gallery in Eastworks hosted an installation entitled Save the Man. It was described as a memorial art installation and community poetry reflection on Native residential schools in the US and Canada. While visually representing the deaths of some 1,400 Indigenous children in federally run residential schools, this installation provided an opportunity for education. Indigenous children were purposely removed from their families and communities to assimilate them into European American society. This removal of Indigenous children was mandatory beginning in 1920, with these children forbidden to attend any other schools. Falling within the observance of Native American Heritage Month, this installation welcomed community members to memorialize the young lives lost, as well as an opportunity to reflect and to grapple with the complex and violent history of North America as individuals and as a community. In aspiring to be a more welcoming community that is respectful, thoughtful, recognizing mutual humanity, and cognizant of harm, the Community Relations Committee was deeply saddened to learn of written reflections on the exhibit that promoted harm and celebrated inhumane treatment of others. The Community Relations Committee's mission is to promote positive relations throughout Easthampton's diverse population. In learning of this incident, we understand that there is much work to be done to reach our vision of building a sense of inclusion, community, and pride, where community members feel welcome, accepted, and valued. Mm-hmm. And that's what she provided.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think it sounds good.
It sounds great.
So I motion to vote to approve that we post that on Facebook.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Seconded, Dr. Evans seconds it.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, we're giving the second to Dr. Eben?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay, so roll call, Rebecca Passa.
Approve.
Approve, okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Eben Afarakuma.
Approved.
Approve. Margaret Kirstein.
Approve.
And Emily Britton, I approve. Mm-hmm. Great.
Let me say, because I mean, here I am like getting into my brain and hesitating, just because Myra worded it as a press release, or the heading on her email was press release. So rather than having that be it, let me look at the parking lot, because I feel like because time has gone by that Facebook's a good place, but it might be that we might still want to be discussing in the future, things like this, and whether we make press releases, and you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So let me just look at the parking lot again. Thank you for bearing with me, because let's see what's on there.
Yeah, and I will admit it's a little bit embarrassing that it's so late, but it's because of, the way we have to operate, and we're all volunteers, right?
It's clearly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. And
timely, but it isn't.
When we get to discussing the state flag, which, by the way, was given to committee to consider, among the concerns in the correspondence is the length of time and the delay. And I'm feeling like, I can understand that delay. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it is hard to be a public committee. So let me see now. I was just looking at the parking lot. So I'm just thinking I want to put something about this.
Yeah. And that could be something for the outreach or the digital communication subcommittees to work on. But
maybe what if I call it press releases? I mean, that's not very clear, but what I kind of mean, maybe I should put that on here, like i.e. i.e. Native American Heritage Month, because I don't want to assume that just putting it on Facebook was necessarily the end of the story. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So I've just added that to parking lot.
Okay, so then we've already discussed the follow-up about the Undoing Racism workshop. We bumped that earlier in the agenda. So it looks like we are at the end of our meeting, and the last things are just confirming the meeting date and adjourning.
Okay, so our next regular meeting date I'd had is April 27th. And I have to say, I remember you're asking Emily when we were considering March dates. You would ask, gee, do we want to dedicate a meeting to committees, right? Do we want committee meetings and then a regular meeting? So, April, the end of April, that's a whole month and a few days. So I don't know if we've had so many special meetings as like, okay, it's probably tiring us out.
Yeah.
And maybe I haven't asked all of the questions yet, I don't know about, let's say, calling a subcommittee meeting formally. So, but I'll try to get those. I'm trying to remember, where did we leave that?
If you just check on that, and I mean, I would say, what's the harm in saying that 2 weeks from now there could be a meeting on a Wednesday night for subcommittees who can make it, or people who can make it, and Myra and I can work on an agenda for that. But we won't necessarily know who can make it, but
we don't know who can make it. And
well, the one thing that we can deliberate about behind the scenes is agendas and meetings.
Right.
So that, maybe what we can do now is say, well, okay, that we know that our next meeting is April 27th. That's the next regularly scheduled meeting. And maybe in between time, if we need to notice further meetings of whatever sort, that can happen, and we'll let everybody know if that does.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. I might be busy on the 13th, but the 6th and the 20th might work. Okay. Well, should we adjourn?
Yes.
Okay. I guess I need to read something. Hold on a second. Where is it? Okay, it was in an email. Hold on. Okay. Oh, wait. How do I end the meeting? I'm trying to find what I'm supposed to say. end the meeting.
Oh, somebody, you know what? I've been forgetting too. We need a motion to adjourn.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay. Yes, of course. A motion to adjourn this meeting. I motion to adjourn this meeting. Am I allowed to do that myself?
I don't see a reason why, right now, I don't see a reason why not.
And I'll second it.
And Margaret
Okay.
seconded it. Okay, great. Okay, so vote to adjourn the meeting. Roll call. Margaret, Kirstein,
Yes.
Rebecca Pasa.
I can imagine her saying no. I say yes.
But,
Let me be clear, I say yes.
Dr. Evan.
I say yes. Yes.
Okay, and I vote as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Very nice. Thank you,
Thanks so much for coming.
everybody.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
See you
All right.
next
Have a
time.
good evening. Yeah. Bye.
You too, Tom.
Okay. Bye. Have a good night.
I don't know how to leave the meeting.
Yeah. Can you stop the recording, Rebecca?
Oh,
I did,
let me
but I don't know how to even leave it.
Don't leave yet.
Let me stop it. Yes. Okay. Thank you, public, and thank you for watching.
Yes.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.